Hello everybody and welcome back to another Marvel Crisis Protocol custom character creation video. And for this week's, or I guess last week's, because I am uploading this one a little bit late, apologies for that, custom character, we're going to be continuing our Transformers. In the previous installment of the series, we did Optimus Prime, and now we're moving on to some of the other Autobots, starting out with Ratchet. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and jump right into things here. So Ratchet is the team medic, and as such, we're going to be having him fill kind of more of a support role here versus the, kind of offensive character and support. Well, I guess Optimus had some support as well, but more offensive Optimus that we had here. And of course, we're going to have him be a lower threat as well. They can't all be 6 threats. And I think for Ratchet, we're going to land somewhere around the 4 line, although we're going to see where things kind of shake out as we go. So for defensive stats, we'll get to that in a second. First, I want to worry about normal, or his size and speed in his 2 forms. And in his normal form, we're going to have him be a size 4 because at the end of the day, Transformers are pretty big. And he's going to be a slow mover because he is on a large base, so making him a medium mover just feels kind of unnecessary. I don't think Ratchet is particularly known for his speed, and on the large base, the slow move is still pretty fast. For his transformed size, we're actually going to only be a size 3 for this because the type of vehicle he typically transforms into would usually be treated as a size 3 on the table. So yeah, don't ask me what happens to his extra weight when he transforms. It goes away, and we don't need to think too much harder about it. It just felt really wrong to make him a size 3 in his transformed mode, so yeah, we're going to go with that. But he is going to be a little bit faster. He's going to be a medium mover there. And yeah, then we're going to start looking at defensive stats here. And I think for now, we're going to give him 7 stamina. We're going to give him 3 physical and 3 energy, but he is one of the smartest members of the team, so we're going to give him a 4 on the Mystic side there. Give him a little bit of a stronger Mystic defense, and then we kind of have the health pool to make up for the lower defensive stats that he otherwise has. And we'll see if we give him some like defensive abilities and things like that. Maybe we'll bump that down to a 6 or something if we feel it's necessary. But for now, I think that's a decent place to start. Alright, from here we got to decide what we want to give him in terms of attacks and things like that. I tried looking at what he kind of has access to usually in most medias. One of the things that is definitely problematic when trying to make these Transformers characters is that there are so many different versions of the characters between the Bayverse. You've got G1, you've got stuff like Transformers Prime, you've got now, of course, the Transformers 1 continuity, which is its own thing. So many different places to draw from for these characters, and all of them kind of have at least some small changes between them. So stuff like kind of typical weapon profiles and things like that are really, really difficult to find. If you guys have a source that's like really, really good for that stuff, definitely let me know, because there's like 5 or 6 different wiki pages for each of these characters, and honestly, none of them are that helpful or consistent. So if you guys know of one, definitely let me know down below, because I do want to try and capture the kind of fan favorite versions of these characters, not just from the couple of appearances that I've seen them in. So with that said, we are going to be mostly going off of his weapons from the live action movies here, because the other things that I was able to find didn't really give much about what sort of weaponry he has, unfortunately. So in the live action, he is often seen with, first of all, just a machine gun as his main weapon. So, I mean, we're going to give him a machine gun of some form. And then the other one that they talk about him having is a buzzsaw, which I did think was really cool. It kind of works for the medic role, having access to a buzzsaw when you're, a medic for Transformers. And I think there's some kind of cool things we can do with that. So I think that's where we're going to kind of start out with his attacks here. And for the machine gun, I think we can go pretty straightforward with this. We can make it a range 4, probably a 4 dice, and we'll just give it that sort of like hit rapid fire trigger, and that's gonna allow us to attack twice with the machine gun, build him a little bit of power more consistently. And because he's playing more of a support role, we don't have to worry too much about the fact that it's not particularly high damage, but we are also, of course, going to make it a gainer, so we'll just go ahead and write that out here. And maybe we want to throw like a bleed or something on here as well, just to make it slightly more interesting. He is probably going to be a 4 threat or higher after all, so just a regular 4 dice rapid fire feels a little underwhelming, so we'll give it a bleed as well, just to make it slightly more interesting. Alrighty, so now he has his machine gun. It's got a hit rapid fire, which is taking up a lot of space on the card, so we're going to have to be somewhat mindful of that. It's also got, after the attack is resolved, the target character gains 1, or this character gains 1 power. You don't want to give power to the other character. And it's got a wild bleed as well, just to kind of do something other than just throwing dice, which I think makes it slightly more interesting at the very least. Going into the Buzzsaw next, this is definitely going to be a more close quarters weapon. This is kind of a last resort style attack for him. I think we're going to make it cost something like 3 or 4 power, and we're going to have this be more close combat. So again, not really something he's going to want to do too often, because I feel like he's going to want to kind of hang back and be that support piece more. And for dice, I think we're going to do something relatively simple, like 6 or 7 dice, because my idea for this is it's also kind of going to have a rapid fire style trigger on it. So I think we're going to do, let's say, 6 dice with a rapid fire. And yeah, I think the rapid fire on this is just going to be on a wild. And other than that, I mean, we'll probably make it hand out bleed as well. Maybe just an automatic bleed. So we'll have it give that too. And I feel like it kind of needs something else in order to be good. So I'm going to think on that for just a second. Okay, so I think we're going to make this slightly more interesting. Instead of giving him a second attack that just has rapid fire, because honestly that's kind of boring, we're going to make the Saw do something a little bit different, probably something along the lines of having wilds count as 2. I think that makes it at least mildly more interesting. And then we are probably still going to have an automatic bleed on there, but I think we're also going to give it a wild pierce, just because that seems good. So yeah, we're going to give it a wild pierce. We're going to have wilds count as 2, and I think we'll bump it up to 7 dice at that point, seeing as it's a close range attack, and he's really not going to want to stay in close too long, because I'm not planning on giving him too much in the way of defensive tech. Alrighty, so I made another tweak while I was actually writing it out here. So we do have the wilds counting as 2, but then instead of giving it the wild pierce, I decided to make the bleed part of it more interesting. So basically, if they already have the bleed special condition, instead of applying bleed, it's going to apply the stagger special condition instead. So definitely kind of something you wanna chain your machine gun into your buzzsaw here and be able to potentially throw it some staggers. And just the kind of logic on this is that Ratchet has kind of the capabilities to, you know, surgically disable parts of the opposing character and just kind of put them out of action for a little bit while they have to heal their wounds and things like that. So yeah, I thought that would be kind of interesting to give him something like that. So with his attacks on this side done, we still need to give him at least one way he can transform, as well as some form of healing thing, which are the main things I wanted to give him. So the first one we're going to give him is just transform, because that one's going to be really easy. We're going to make this cost 1 and not 3, and yeah, it's going to be the exact same as all the other transform characters, where he's gonna transform because that's what that does. Alrighty, so we've given him the ability to transform, which of course under Optimus's leadership is going to refund him the power, so that's going to be very nice for him as well, give him a little bit of extra mobility too effectively, so that's going to be nice. The last thing I want to give him on his robot side is going to be the healing laser that we've seen him use in the movies, at least. I don't know if it's something he usually has access to, but being a medic, I want to give him healing abilities, so yeah, we're going to go ahead and do that. And the healing laser I think is going to be pretty simple. We're going to have it cost 2 power, and it's going to be probably a range 3 heal for 3 damage, and maybe and a special condition. I think if it's and a special condition, I have to make it cost slightly more. So maybe it's 3 damage or a special condition, or maybe it's 3 damage or a special condition and 1 damage. Something like that could be kind of interesting. We are running out of room on the card though, so we'll see what I can fit, and we'll jump right back. Alrighty, so we were able to make everything work the way I wanted it to. So the healing laser chooses an allied character within range 3. The chosen character removes either 3 damage or 1 damage and a special condition, and the character can only be affected by the superpower once per turn. Absolutely love that Jarvis Protocol just knows to kind of squish things a little bit if it's getting too long. Fantastic. But with that said, we don't have any room left on this side, so I think we have to jump over to his alt mode and start working on what he's going to do in vehicle form. And I'm going to be honest, I have no idea what I want to give him for attacks on this side, because there's only so many times you can do like a transform takedown style attacks, which is what we gave Optimus. So yeah, I'm really not sure. I guess the big thing is we'll just kind of have it be some sort of like ram style attack. So I mean, yeah, we'll just kind of call it ram attack. And basically the idea will be like, it'll be maybe a range 3, let's say. Nothing crazy on the dice. I think we'll probably give him 5 dice for this. And all it's going to do is it's going to be a builder. So this one will gain you power based on the damage that you deal. And it's going to place you place within one of the target. And then maybe we give it some sort of push effect as well. Could be kind of interesting. I don't want to use up too much space on the card, but maybe like a wild push. And, you know, maybe like a size 3 push small away sort of deal. And we'll do the push before damage as well, because then the place kind of makes more sense. You like either ram through them or something like that, but you can't like place on the other side of them and then push them back from where you came, because that doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I think we'll go with something like that. Alrighty, so we've gone ahead and given him his ram attack here, so he's going to get to push them, he's going to place off of them, and then he's going to gain power based on the damage that he deals. Nothing too crazy here, but giving him a little bit of control here is definitely nice. It's going to be really good for his effectiveness. Then we go into superpowers, because I'm not going to give him a spender on this side. We're going to give him, well, at least 2 superpowers. The first one is just going to be transform. We got to be able to go back into our other mode, so we're just going to copy that over from the other one. It'll cost 1 once again, and under Optimus's leadership is effectively free because you'll get refunded for it as well. Alrighty, with our normal mode all set up here, the next thing we want to give him, I actually wanted to give him 2 more superpowers on this side. I think his vehicle mode actually might end up being the more interesting one, so it's going to kind of be a cool situation of like half your support powers are going to be on this side, and then your healing is going to be on this side, so you kind of want to flip between the two relatively frequently, which I think is kind of cool. So the first one we're going to be giving him is going to be some sort of, basically, when I was looking into his character, I was seeing a lot of stuff about how he tries to choose emergency vehicles and stuff like that, not because he's a medic and so it's just kind of fitting, although obviously that is definitely some of the meta choice behind it, but the in-universe reason why he chooses like ambulances and other emergency vehicles is because those vehicles are really good at basically telling other vehicles to get out of his way so he can get to his patients faster. So as a medic, being able to get to his patients is really important to him. So I'm basically thinking some sort of push himself superpower, and if he contacts an enemy character, he can push them away. And yeah, I just think that that's a little bit more interesting than, say, just giving him another ram like we gave Optimus. And this kind of fits the emergency vehicle theme of basically like, he's blaring his sirens, he's going on this path, and if you're in his way, he's going to push you away. And I'm thinking this isn't only going to apply to enemies, which potentially makes it really strong, because you can use this to push allies up as well. So we're definitely going to have to be somewhat careful with how much we cost this. I'm leaning towards 3, and yeah, basically we'll call it like sirens blaring or something like that. And he's just going to push himself, probably small or medium, and if he contacts another character, that character is pushed away from him, small sort of deal. Alrighty, so there we go. We have sirens blaring. We also made it once per turn. I don't know if I mentioned that part previously. And yeah, this actually gives him a really solid control kit as well. You can very easily kind of be like, I'm going to push myself onto this point, and I'm going to push you off of this point because I didn't want you here anyways. And yeah, I think that's kind of neat for him. So yeah, sirens blaring is going to be his next ability here. And then the last superpower we're going to give him is basically a lifesaver ability, because I mean, it kind of makes sense. That's what he wants to do. So he's going to be able to pull allies out of danger. This ability is going to come pretty much directly from Gwen, and I don't think I'm really tweaking it at all. So yeah, basically the idea is, and I think I'm just going to call it Lifesaver, when an allied character is targeted by an attack, he gets to yank them short towards himself, and if they're no longer in range of the attack or line of sight, then the attack ends, and the attacker gets their attack action back. So yeah, really powerful superpower. Definitely something that, is going to be one of the main reasons you're going to want to bring this character, and I think is really going to solidify him as like a really solid support piece, and turns, that actually pretty solid buzzsaw attack into something you almost never want to do, because he's going to be using all of his power up on stuff like Lifesaver or his healing laser, which I think is kind of the point. I want him to play that medic role. I want him to sit back a little bit more and have that buzzsaw really be for emergencies only sort of situation. So yeah, we're going to add this in, and then we're going to kind of see where we're at with him as a character. Alrighty, so slight problem we've encountered is that Lifesaver is a wall of text. I'm going to have to figure out how to deal with that, so we may have to make some cuts on some superpowers or things like that. Hopefully nothing too bad. Maybe we just like remove one of these lines of text from his ram attack here. Not 100% sure. Maybe it's the push. That definitely makes the ram attack feel a lot worse, but might be what's kind of necessary here, so we'll see. Alrighty, we're in luck. I turned on squish mode and it just works. It was enough, I guess. I didn't think it was going to be. I thought we were way too far over, but yeah, turns out squish mode saves us. So cool. Definitely a little bit tight on the space here. That is the downside of using the double cards here, but I thought it would be a nice little challenge to try and fit everything on them, and clearly we're allowed to just cheat to fit things, so that works pretty well for me. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with where he's kind of come out here. He's got some really cool support abilities. He's got some nice control. Is he the hardest hitting character in the world? Well, I mean, if you're really throwing him into melee, then yeah, he probably can be. And with that said, I do want to really discourage putting this guy too close to the action. I'm probably going to drop him down to only 6 stamina. Feels a little light, but being kind of like a pseudo Gwen, I'm a little worried about him being too bulky and having an attack like this and being able to do all this other stuff that he does. So I think dropping him down to like a 6-6 or maybe a 6-7 feels a little bit better for all of the things he can do. He is going to be a little power hungry, which is probably his biggest kind of drawback there. But of course, the leadership that we gave Optimus is helping with that. So yeah, I think we're going to go to his flip side here. Maybe we'll bump him to 7 on the flip. So a 6-7 split. 13 stamina overall is pretty good for a 4 threat, but he's going to have relatively low defenses because none of this stuff works on himself. I mean, he can heal himself, so that is a thing. But he doesn't have the defensive tech to really last all that long. Fairly consistent physical attackers will just take him down, and I think that's okay. I think that's kind of where we want him to be. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with how he's turned out here. Definitely let me know what you guys think down below. And as previously mentioned, if you guys have a good source on kind of, a more whole view of all the different versions of the Transformers franchise. If there's like a good website or wiki page or something like that that I can find for these characters going forward, definitely taking recommendations for that because I want to make sure I capture as much of these characters as possible across their different continuities and things like that. So yeah, I hope I did Ratchet justice here. He's definitely a character that I really, really like, but I have a somewhat limited view of the Transformers universe, so I'm hoping I did him justice for you guys as well. Definitely let me know if there are any things that he's usually known for that I didn't include on his kit that you guys would have liked to see included. Always curious to hear what you guys are thinking on stuff like that. But otherwise, that is going to do it for this custom character. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you did, please do drop a like down below. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Helps me out a bunch. It lets me know you guys are enjoying the stuff we are throwing out here. And if you're really, really enjoying this series and you want to see more custom characters in Marvel Crisis Protocol, we are also running a members-only version of the series where we are doing the entire 151 Pokemon. Slowly but surely, currently we are on the Caterpie and Weedle lines, so we're still pretty early into that. But if you are interested, becoming a member only costs $1 a month and gives you access to that series as well. So definitely something to consider if you're interested in that. But otherwise, if you're not, just being here, watching the video, clicking that like and subscribe button do a ton to help out anyways, so you are still very, very much appreciated. But yeah, that's going to do it for this one. So until next time, have a great day, everybody. Peace.